All right, moving forward though. Um, so we're moving into a new year, Shawn. It's very exciting. Corona's dead. It's gone. The moment it hit January 1st, the clock rolled over to the new year. It just vanished off the face of the earth, and all our problems are gone magically. So, definitely no raids happened recently. I don't even know what a raid is. Uh, we had a peaceful transfer of power through presidency. That all went perfectly. We're all
That's like two
good.
weeks from now.
Yeah, I know. The world's fucking ending. It's fine. But we got some video games to play, boys, to hide from the dangers and fears and the existentialism
And the
pog.
zealots.
Yeah. So we got some games coming out in 2021. It's going to be pretty cool. But I thought before we move into that and talk about what we're excited for this new year of gaming, maybe looking back on something that stood out to us for 2020 when it came to video games. 2020 was a crazy year. It went by fast as fuck, while also simultaneously slow as fuck. Very weird. But we had a lot of cool moments in games this year that kind of stood out to everybody. And I guess we'll just both give our own personal one, something that when we look back on this year in the future, something that we will remember fondly, some kind of experience we enjoyed. Shawn, do you have one, or do you want me to go first?
There's a lot that I don't even remember about this year. Like you gotta understand, like
In
I'm still
shock.
operating on a post-fire budget, like I'm still rebuilding my life.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
happening a
I
little
can
bit
give.
slower for me because a good chunk of my budget goes towards
Oh,
paying for my kids' college. And
we're.
Lord knows if I ever find somebody else who wants to fucking link up with me and create Spawn, there will be future budgets to deal with. But the most memorable gaming experiences I have of this year was being able to get back into Final Fantasy, being able to play Genshin, which was I think the biggest thing that we'd look forward to all year, to be honest.
Yeah, I was foaming
Uh,
at the mouth like a week before that shit came out, bro. I was so
yeah, like
excited.
we've had a lot. I mean, we even got we played that first night. I had come up with the idea before it released, like, hey, why don't we all play at the same time? Now we didn't know when the multiplayer element would open up, and it obviously did not open up that first night. But I think I took almost the week off. I think it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or no, it might have been a good chunk of it. Was a good chunk of that week. It might have been more than that.
Yeah, because I remember
Um,
coming like the next day, I had to go to sleep, and then I woke up and you were still on playing catch shit. Like you just
yeah, I
took the
played it for
whole
like
like,
24 hours.
yeah, fucking insane.
And then for like the next 3 days, it was like I'd play it until I literally passed out at the controller and then I'd wake up and play it some more, and then take a
Yeah,
nap,
go
and
back
then
to
wake
sleep.
up and play it some more and take a nap. And while I got way more exploration done than everyone else, I hadn't pushed my story forward as much. And it's kind of like a play it how you want it game anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
But that was like a big moment that I really enjoyed. And the rest of I don't really have any other, like I've played plenty of games, but I don't really have anything else that sticks out to me as much. I've also really enjoyed the Switch, mainly because with the Switch purchased I only have like 4 or 5 actual console AAA releases on there. Like I've used that almost exclusively for like indie content and smaller dev content. So I've got like the entire Shantae collection on there that's available currently at the moment. It didn't dawn on me that the frame rate might be higher on PS4 because I figured the Switch could handle 60 frames on a simple 2D side scroller. I don't even know if the Shantae collection is at 60 frames, but when I bought it, I was like, hey, this is a portable kind of thing. In theory, I could take it with me, and Shantae is probably one of my favorite platforming franchises of all time. So I really enjoy those a lot. But I purchased a bunch of like indie games, and I also use it for couch co-op. Like I've got, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 couch co-ops on PS4, but I've got easily double that on the Switch. So the Switch has kind of become my dedicated couch co-op machine, as well as like indie titles. Although I do have a ton of indie titles in PS4, I'm not specializing in any platform, any 100%. That and like frame rate isn't nearly as big a deal in a cooperative type game. In some instances, like beat 'em
Mm-hmm.
ups and fighting games, obviously it's more important because a single frame becomes an important thing in a fighting game. But yeah, normally when you're doing a cooperative couch co-op first-person shooter anyway, it has to cut the frame rate because it's rendering two versions of the game together on the same screen. So your frame rate normally dips regardless if it's a
Yeah.
60 frame experience. So I don't. That's not really as important. So I've got a lot of beat 'em ups and a lot of board games and party games and stuff like that on the Switch because it's fucking ideal for that shit. Like I've got Clue on there, like this really cool version of Clue on there that I haven't even used yet because I don't have a lot of people that have purchased it yet. Well, you're one of the ones I want to talk into doing that, and Hector as well. And then we could have a night where we play Clue. I think that'd be fucking great.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But I've had a lot of fun with the Switch. I've been experimenting with a lot of independent games, and none of them really stick out to me. The most recent Shantae title was really good, but I don't. It's not. I haven't really had a lot of gaming memories since the fire because I went from being someone that had hundreds of games and a massive collection, and I had an even bigger collection than that a long time ago that I had to sell portions of it off to going to a guy that only had a Super Nintendo Classic because one of my best friends gave it to me for Christmas. And then you sending me your old PS4 and me retrofitting the bigger hard drive on there and downloading my previous software library that was digital, so I was able to at least instantly get some games on there. It's just not something I've been able to dive back into. I was eagerly awaiting Cyberpunk, and I really do enjoy that game, but some of that enjoyment was dampened a bit. Like the collector's edition, by the way, was really nice. I think they did a pretty decent job with that, but it feels a little bit like I got a really great statue and then a bunch of kitsch. Like the art book is a really nice like coffee table edition. It's really well made, but the rest of it is like keychains and patches and pins and a bunch of like little kitsch stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
just uh, really, it's not janky. It's all really well made, but a lot of me questions like if you're gonna give me like the packaging as part of it, like it comes in really interesting packaging, like that briefcase kind of thing made with this super high quality cardboard with like this plastic coating on it almost. This like weird kind of vinyl neoprene finish
Mm-hmm.
on it. Like that was really nice. The art book's really nice. The presentation is really nice. But in the end, you get a really groovy statue. You get a keychain, 3 or 4 patches, some stickers, some more stickers, some like fucking cards, postcards, a few pamphlets, like some flavor text pamphlets, and an art book. And the art book is kind of like the centerpiece alongside the statue. I don't. It was. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was like 165. I want to say, which I suppose really isn't that bad. If it was that much, I don't remember. It might have been 200 something. Uh, but I got more out of that than I think I got out of the game. Because the gaming experience that I had, which was really, really good, was kind of reduced to being more of a Grand Theft Auto first person shooter than it was what you got to experience on PC. Because it had the same limitations that GTA has, having a certain number of people on screen at a time and having to cut down the graphics. Like I've seen GTA on PC versus GTA on console, and they're so different.
Yeah.
And the difference is vast as well. Like once you realize what you're missing, even with the technical problems, I didn't have as many of. I think it only locked up on me like 3 or 4 times. The experience was not what I was hoping for. They basically gave me a package of delicious looking M&Ms, but without the chocolate center. So you had the beautiful,
Yeah.
fun, sweet shell, but the substance I was
Air.
hoping the game would have really wasn't as much there as it should have been.
Yeah.
Uh, so that wasn't as sweet as I was hoping it would be, but I didn't expect it to live up to the hype. I just wanted to. I got what I wanted. For the most part. I just was a little disappointed that it didn't have the substance I was hoping for. But I could say that was I got about as much enjoyment, I almost as much enjoyment out of that as I did when Spider-Man dropped, and we had so much fun with that game. Like that was just a really solid release, even if they did SJW fuck up some of it. For the most part, that game was just about perfect. Uh, I didn't have that kind of experience this year. Like nothing came out and gave me everything I wanted from it like Spider-Man did. I think that's probably the last release I can remember playing that 100% or like gave me like 95 or 90% of what I wanted from it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Uh, maybe not quite that much, but overall, I think it just gave me that Arkham experience all over again, but still maintained its own identity. I didn't have that experience this year, so I don't really have a lot to reflect on like you might, because you've definitely been able to dive in a lot more. You've been able to do more PC and VR experiences with like Phasma and stuff like that. I didn't really do that. I think um, I've really been looking for that kind of killer multiplayer app. I will say that I've gotten a lot of value out of Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. I like that about Daylight.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of game value out of that. I've gotten a lot of value out of Mario Kart and um, I don't know, man. That's about it. I really my life this last year hasn't had a lot to commentate on. Not at least in an optimistic stance, anyway. What about you, sir? Unfortunately, I'm just the least exciting part of this conversation.
That's fine. Okay, so I've had quite a few experiences, both shared and some my own, which is interesting because there's um as I don't know, as you get older, more responsibilities are in your life. There's some games that this year I didn't invest time in playing for one reason or another, whether it be I didn't want to support the game or I didn't have the means of playing it, blah blah blah. But there's a couple experiences that stood out to me this year from games I had delved into, that I just kind of remember pretty fondly. Um, Obviously, we had the Last of Us Part 2 interesting discussion that went amongst the community. The debacle that led up to it, the leaks, all of that was incredibly interesting to partake in. I loved our debate episode. I loved talking to people about online. I did not play it, but I watched the story, all culminating in it receiving like 7 awards at the Game Awards this year. It's just been such an interesting roller coaster following Last of Us throughout
Last
its
of Us 2 awards.
throughout its story, the memes, everything has been very interesting. And that initial time where I sat down to watch one of my favorite streamers, XQC, play the game, he basically sat down and beat it in one playthrough, and I watched that entire playthrough. I didn't go to sleep that night because that Sunday was like the Sunday we'd be recording, so I figured I could talk about it a little bit. So I watched the entire story from his perspective and kind of derived my thoughts from that. So that was a very interesting experience. That's something that I will remember looking back on in the year, not fondly, but interestingly. One other cool experience that I was able to have this year would be Ghost of Tsushima. Playing through that on PS4, it was a very fun game. And when we eventually got PS5, went back to play it and finish it. Just excellent story. Really liked the build up, and just the experiences. Really cool set pieces, especially the initial acquisition of your ghost armor, getting the Ghost of Tsushima armor. It was really cool. Just so many cool elements, so many cool set pieces. The art direction was fucking phenomenal in Tsushima. It was so good. And one moment when I look back on the game that I think I'll think of very fondly is the intro, where after you lose to one of the con dudes. You fall off the bridge, land in. You're first taught about the wind mechanics, so you see how the wind affects literally everything, and just how nice it looks. And then you move up, you find your horse and ride it onto this field of flowers all flowing in the wind, and then the title card pops up, Ghost of Tsushima, and you're just like floored, like holy fuck, this is awesome. And that was like that first thing. Just something when I look back on the game, something I'll remember is that just that intro sequence was so cool. The music booming, everything about it was fucking awesome. And it was just such a cool experience. What else did we have this year? Alex, Half-Life Alex, I was able to play in VR. And honestly, the closest I've ever felt like being like on the precipice of like the future of games, if it does go this route. It may not ever. It may just be a gimmick for the rest of its existence. But Half-Life Alyx was cool. And I guess probably one of the experiences I'll look back on was probably the first time putting on the what are they called? Fuck, it's the name of your friend character. The glove things that let you like pull shit to you. Damn, what are they called? Whatever, it's the name of your friend. I know that. I just don't remember his fucking name. I might come up with it as I talk about it. But walking out into this big street, the game was fucking gorgeous. So being able to play and interact with the environment on a whole new level, having a AAA experience within VR that was fully built from top to bottom with VR in mind was just such an amazing, intense, interactive experience with a well-told story, with interesting characters, and like unique like map design, diverse gameplay. There's just so many elements to it. A lot of elements sticking out. I don't want to spoil Alex because I recommend if you guys do have a VR headset, play it. If you have a computer that can run VR, just get a Quest 2 and a link cable. It's the cheapest way to experience VR, in my opinion. And it works fantastically. I haven't really had any issues with it. And because you're taking that step in the first place, you won't really recognize some of the things like the little differences between the HDMIs or not HDMIs, whatever the headsets. There's some kind of word for them, some kind of acronym. But so that was an amazing experience. Getting the gloves, learning how to do the pull mechanic, setting off on my adventure as Alex. Another really cool thing was one kind of setup that they had like about midway through the game that was kind of an horror element. And it has to do with like sound. So if you play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It has to do with sound, horror element. That just going through that, dealing with that entity and that issue, and then finally being able to take care of it at the end was all satisfying. Really well built up. Having to deal with the puzzles while making noise accidentally while you complete the puzzles, all in a VR environment with the headset, the headphones on. It was just like absolutely insane. And some of the most fun I've had playing a game in a long time, of just like pure fun, like just super into it. Like before you know it, 5 hours have passed, and it was just such an intense and awesome experience. I fucking adored Alex, and I can't wait to see what else Half-Life does, especially the way they ended Alex. Not what Half-Life does, what Valve does, especially the way they ended Alex. To see moving forward, if we'll see more experiences like this that are fully built for VR, that'd be really cool. So that was an awesome experience, and we'll look back on fondly. Cyberpunk was cool booting it up initially. I think Cyberpunk's whole debacle as well has been interesting to watch, and something that a lot of people remember for a long time as just probably as a reminder to not fall to hype, to kind of temper your expectations, give yourself some time to internalize stuff, and hey, even the greatest can fall, I guess. Hopefully they turn this game into something good. I hope they rework some of the major systems of the game and just make this something that we were all expecting it to be at some point. But I've enjoyed my time in it. I've taken a break from it just because I was kind of burning myself out and with the the play sessions that I had. But I definitely agree with Shawn's analogy. M&M's, no chocolate, just the shell. Feels bad. But we had our discussion on Cyberpunk. If you want to check that out, it was a couple episodes back. Definitely interesting thing. What else happened this year?
If we're just talking gaming, or if you talk
Just
like
games,
game
really.
related, Witcher was released, and I had both a positive
On the
and negative
Switch?
experience. No, I mean the show.
Oh, the show Witcher. Okay.
I had both a positive and negative experience with that show.
Okay.
I really liked Cavill's performance. I thought the performances in the show were good. The special effects in the show were good. I thought I thought the casting was fine. What I did not like was they did very poor world building. Like you really, again, they did that anime thing where the only thing you learned about the world was what was directly on screen, interacting with the characters, but you had no grasp of how large the location was. So he'd be
yeah.
like, "All right, well, I've got to travel somewhere," and the next scene he's there. So you never get any understanding of the lengths that he journeys. When you're playing the games, you realize that he's going hundreds of miles from point A to point B. Like you kilometers and kilometers, massive amounts of travel that he's doing. It takes him long periods of time to get from point A to point B, and sometimes that's when some of the more interesting story happens is between his adventures. Um, Whereas in the show, it's I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here, and you never have an understanding of where anything's located, where the countries are in relation to each other, how far he's got to travel, how much work went into getting there. Like you never see that. You never get a grasp of it. So I never really understood the world. Like I got bits and pieces of culture, the various uh, kind of racism between elves and humans, and the terrible history of the land, and the political infighting. And then there were other themes that they really drilled into your face that were much more subtle and much more better portrayed. There's a lot of this like neo-feminism stuff that's in there that was handled much, 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 much better from a storytelling perspective in the novels
Mhm.
and in the games, whereas they just punched you in the face with it over and over again and treated you like a moron in the show. And I hated that. I hated the fact that a character had to voice something when it would have been much more eloquent and powerful if they just showed it. So, but instead of like, and they did show it. They showed it. You could see, that a queen was beholden to behave a certain way and didn't have certain powers, etc., as opposed to a king. Like all of that was visible, but yet they had these stupid fucking preach to the camera dialogues of the writers of the show throwing their political opinions at the camera when I think that and it just really destroyed any credibility that the story was trying to build up. So
Okay.
there was a lot. It was a very flawed show, but I enjoyed it a lot, and I think the flaws were made all the more painful by how good everything else was.
Yeah. Okay. One other game that I forgot to mention was Hades. Uh,
That was a fun ass game,
Game is fucking
and I don't
great.
normally like games like that, and I really enjoyed it. I hate that whole three quarters isometric
Oh yeah.
perspective kind of bullshit. It's just not my thing. And Hades was fucking fantastic. Is
Hades has
fantastic.
been a great experience. I still have not yet finished it, but every time I've sat down to play it, I've had a great experience. I love roguelikes, and I think this is one of the best I've played. It's just it's deep. It has a so far great story and characters from what I've played. I've enjoyed the seeing this take on. Well, I mean, it's pretty typical affair for Greek mythology, but I don't remember the name of the dude you play. I suck with Greek names, but whatever. The dude you play as and him going through his tale and just the systems and the fun, the challenge, the varying levels of degree or the varying levels of challenge you run into as you play and how the routes are set up. It's just such a fun experience. Every time I die, I'm just like, one more. I gotta go. One more. I was close. One more. I can fuck up that boss this time. Get me back in there. And it just keeps grabbing you by the fucking nuts, and it does not let go. It's just a great fucking experience.
It helps that the controls are so snappy.
Yeah, super solid. It's so much fucking fun. There's so much good feedback too in the environment as you kill things and as you fight, and it's just poppy. It just everything about it. It just feels good to play, and it just keeps you in the loop. You want to go back in and give it another try. It's fucking awesome.
Reminds me of Doom that way. Doom and Doom Eternal, they're so well optimized, they
Yeah.
control so well, and the gameplay is just really, really addictive and responsive, exactly the way you want it to be.
Yeah. Doom Eternal's so fucking good too. Doom has been such a great. This reboot series has been so much fucking fun to play through, and oh god, it's so good, bro. And again, the music's fantastic, and it elevates the game so much. I would not enjoy a Doom anywhere near as much as I did if it did not have the soundtrack it did. If it was like typical run of the mill bullshit cinematic stuff, I would be nowhere near as excited to play that game every time I sit down to play it as I am when I do, because it just elevates the experience so much. It's so fucking fun. But again, outside of that, another huge experience, like Shawn said earlier, has been Genshin. Genshin's been great, inspired by Breath of the Wild, although it does a lot to kind of remove some of the issues I have with Breath of the Wild. There's just a lot of dumb annoyances in Breath of the Wild I didn't think were really necessary. I know what they were trying to do, and I'm fine with it. I wonder how they'll approach that in the new game whenever that comes out, the second one. But I've enjoyed Genshin so thoroughly. I've literally played that game daily for at least an hour daily since it's launched. I have not missed a day. I play it every fucking day. Even when I was on vacation. I was on vacation for a fucking week. I was still playing that game daily to do all my stuff. And just enjoy it and be in that world and explore Teyvat, I think it's called, and just I just love that game so much. I love the music. I love the character designs, the characters. The story's been it's been getting more engaging. Its initial start was a bit slow. It's kind of building stuff up, but it's been getting more engaging. It's been good, especially with the ending of 1.1. I think it was 1.1 where they had the whole thing with the ballistas and the water god and all that other stuff. It's just been great. I can't wait to see more what this game evolves into as they change systems and develop stuff over time, and just seeing more characters. And it's just been so much fucking fun. And I, again, haven't missed a day of playing it. I would love a system that would tally how many hours I've played. I really want to see. It has to be a couple hundred at this point. But it's just been such a great experience. I was foaming at the mouth waiting for that fucking game to come out. And when it finally did, I was so excited to get in and play it. And it had a great launch, no issues for it being something that technically is always online. Although it's not an MMO, it's just you're always connected to a server. So I didn't really expect any major issues because you're not having a bunch of people running around in the same instance. But it's just so much fun. Rewards exploration thoroughly, and it's tailored so much to me and Shawn. Like, I know Shawn's like really full built into the exploration, and I enjoy it a lot too, especially in games like this where you just kind of roam and do whatever the fuck you want. It's just so well built, and that fire was reignited when Dragonspine came out because we had a whole new area to go through and comb through and have fun in and explore and mess around in, and it just instantly reminded me, like, damn, this is why I fucking love this game. And that's why I'm so excited for when Inazuma drops and what that looks like, and seeing like a more Japanese themed inspired area and meeting all this new cast of characters over there and talking to them, seeing their arc, what's going on over there, why the fuck are they taking visions. I'm just so excited to see what this game evolves into in the next couple of years as they continue to make changes, improvements, and do things. I'm fucking hyped. It's great. And I can't see a time in the near future where I will stop playing daily. I'm gonna keep playing daily, and I haven't burned out on it yet. I'm still always excited to log back in each day and do shit. So great fucking. It'll probably be, when I look back on 2020, it'll probably be the thing I look back on the most because I've spent so much of 2020 doing it. So definitely hype. Super fucking awesome. But yeah. So we have some things coming out this year, Shawn, that look pretty exciting. Real quick, we'll go over before we move into our films. So I tallied some. I know the one that you had mentioned earlier. It's called Balan Wonderworld. The Square Enix game looks pretty interesting. Again, I'm always for 3D platformers, especially like interesting, unique, like crazy looking fucking platformers. I'm all about that kind of shit. Again, it kind of incites that like childish, you just feel like a kid again kind of stuff, and I 100% agree with you there. we're probably the same person, Shawn. It's probably confirmed at this point. Another game I'm really looking forward to is Back 4 Blood, spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. I have spent many an hour in Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, both on Xbox, both on PC, especially PC with the modding community. I wonder how that will work with Back 4 Blood, how open they will be to modification of the game's files and stuff like that. But Back 4 Blood looks dope. I've been trying to get into the alpha. I have not gotten in yet, so I haven't been able to get my hands on it. But it looks really fun. I've watched people play it, and I just love the cooperative zombie horde kind of game. It's something I've played like to its exhaustion, and I still have fun every time I get the chance to go back in. But yeah, Balan Wonderworld, I have a list here. I'm looking through Bravely Default 2. Completely forgot about this game. I remember playing a bit of Bravely Default back on the 3DS. I never got a chance to try Bravely Second, but this one's coming out on the Switch, and I enjoyed the battle systems in Bravely Default a fuckload. The game was deep. It had a lot to it. I thought the art style, I'm not the biggest fan of, like, it's kind of chibi-ish. It's not 100% chibi. There's been worse chibi experiences, but the characters kind of look like if you were to take an overworld character in, like, Final Fantasy and turn it into a model kind of thing, where they're a little bit smaller. They got kind of large heads. It's not chibi. It's not fully extreme chibi, but outside of that, like, I've heard so many good things about Bravely Second, and I enjoyed the battle system a lot in Bravely Default and learning it and playing through it. And I'm excited to give Bravely Default 2 a try. Hopefully it reviews well. It may not be something I pick up day one because I don't have a huge connection to this, but this will be coming like sometime in February, I think. Deathloop looked interesting. Although the only thing that sucks about this is I'd have to wait like a year to even play this after it comes out, because I think they have exclusivity deals with PlayStation 5. They have confirmed it will release on PC, which is nice, but I love the team that works on this game. What the fuck are they named? Shawn, Prey. Prey. Oh my lord.
Prey was a Bethesda game.
Yes. But the team that made it, Bethesda published it. They didn't make the game. I'm just gonna look it up. Fuck it. Prey developer. What are their names? Arkham. Arcane. Damn it, I was close. They also made the one with the dude that could teleport. There's two of those. Oh, fuck it. My brain is unreliable. We all know this by now. Dishonored. Fuck me. Dishonored. So Dishonored and Prey. I love Prey. Prey's a great fucking game. But Deathloop looks interesting. I would have to see more about it and how deep this time loop mechanic goes into the game's systems. But it seems interesting. It seems unique. I don't know if I want to play like a heavily, like, first-person shooting is really important in this. So I don't know if I'd want to play that on console. I might just wait for the PC release. But I'll definitely be checking out gameplay when it drops on PS5. Does time loop interest you at all, Shawn? Do you have any?
Oh, not particularly.
Yeah, I didn't think so. We got Diablo 4, which I'm also
I haven't seen a lot on it yet, so I haven't really made any decisions.
I've seen like the few ads, but I don't think there's been like major gameplay showcases. There's been just stuff that shows small amounts of gameplay. Diablo 4 looks cool. I like that it's going back to the darker elements of Diablo 2. And Diablo 2 is, for a lot of people, one of the best games they've ever played. So I'm sure a lot of people are excited to get into Diablo 4. I would be willing to try it. I'm going to wait to see how it reviews because Blizzard's been doing a lot of weird shit recently, and I kind of fucking hate them. But if everyone picks it up within the friend group and they're playing it on PC, I might join them. We'll see what happens. I enjoyed Diablo 3 quite a bit, but that was my first Diablo game, so I'm not sure. Dying Light 2 may be coming out this year. I know they just recently lost another designer for their studio or whatever, so I don't know. I haven't heard much about Dying Light 2, but Dying Light 1 was an excellent game. I love the parkour elements. I liked a lot about how the zombies at night were like actually fucking terrifying and were dangerous and can fuck you up. I also like the idea that people can join you and like parkour to kill you as the zombies. Like, there's a lot of cool elements to Dying Light. One big thing that a lot of people are very excited for, but have not heard shit, so people are literally losing their goddamn minds, is Elden Ring, the next From Software game. No one knows anything about this game. No one knows
So
at
they
all.
haven't said shit.
Yeah, it's also being developed with Game of Thrones dude, Martin R.R. Martin. So he may be writing elements of the story. I don't fucking know, but they've been completely silent about it. Haven't said shit, and it's literally making people go fucking nuts. The Elden Ring Reddit is constantly people depressed as fuck. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of depressed dudes, and that's it. And that's about it. Another thing we haven't seen a whole lot of is Ghostwire Tokyo. I know they showed a gameplay thing recently, and I was kind of for it until I saw gameplay, and then I was like, I don't know. Because it looked a little bit like finicky with the gameplay. I like the idea, and I like it. The aesthetic of it looks cool. I just haven't seen enough, so it'd probably be a wait for review kind of thing. One really big thing is Ragnarok, new God of War game. First game was fucking phenomenal, and I'm just excited to see where they go next. Ragnarok, if you know anything about Ragnarok, is Norse mythology, right?
Yeah, he's still in Norse.
Yeah. So if you know anything about Norse mythology, you know Ragnarok's obviously a pretty big fucking event. So it's gonna be interesting to see what goes down. First game was great. I can't wait to see where they go with it.
Well, he's already fucked with human. Like we're already very much on a different
course
path. Yeah, than our world has taken. Because in this world, gods are real, and he's pretty much killed most of the Greek pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's, in the process of wiping out the Norse pantheon, because of course,
yeah.
And there's a secret cave in the God of War, because it's not a reboot. I mean, you could say it's a soft reboot because it's him years later with a kid, and then you learning about what happened in between when he killed off the Grecian gods. And then, because he died at the end of God of War 3, or you thought he died, but in reality he didn't, of course. And they've had a few of the filler games that also built on the universe and such, but you find out what's happened to him over that period, and now they've taken him somewhere else where he was trying to fucking lay low and, hide his godhood, and that didn't work out very well. Who was it that picked the fight with him in the beginning that started the whole problem? Was it Loki?
No. It was some lower tier dude.
It was
no, Loki's...
It was I almost had the tip of his name on my tongue. Sartre?
I don't think so. Dude that fights.
Because he's the final boss. The first guy you fight is also the last guy you fight.
He comes back and you can choose whether or not to fucking murk his ass. Oh god, what's his name?
It feels like it was such an arbitrary. Yeah, Baldur. That's it. Balder's not a lower tier guy, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well,
but Baldur, it feels like such an arbitrary choice to just show up at your house and then bully you.
It was effective though. I mean, I don't know how much sense it made, but he scared the shit out of me. We just started beating the fuck out of Kratos, nuked his house. I'm like, holy fuck, we're in this already. Okay, it was pretty cool. But yeah,
it was just such an unusual opening to a God of War game. But Kratos' story is different now. Like, he was an anti-hero before, almost a bad guy in a world of somewhat worse guys.
I'm excited to see
Thor. Sometimes worse guys, and now he's, as far as I can tell, at least the general story now is he's definitely 100% a good dude now.
Yeah, I would assume Ragnarok is probably referring to Kratos. He's going to be going to, because I think Ragnarok is
I think the gods are just going to back him into a corner again.
Well, yeah, because Ragnarok...
in God of War 3, he had to kill the gods just to get peace, because they weren't going to leave him alone.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But isn't Ragnarok, as an event, the death of specific gods in Norse mythology?
Well, the Norse mythology goes through a Ragnarok every so often. It's like a reboot.
Okay.
Where the gods will fight, everything dies, and then everything's reborn. So Zeus comes back, Thor comes back. Everybody comes back.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just the rebirth of the universe. And when they come back, they're just slightly different.
Gotcha. Okay.
So cool. Ragnarok happens every so often. According to
do you think we'll get
Norse
Thor's
mythology,
as a weapon? I hope we get Thor's hammer as a weapon. That'd be dope as fuck.
That would be interesting, but they'll probably end up killing him, because the one problem that I had
with
with God of War, is that they turned all of the gods eventually into antagonists,
Yeah.
even the ones that weren't trying to do him any harm. Like, he killed them all. Like, his rage was just gone. Like, he was not thinking clearly. It was just, oh, you're in my way, you're dead. And I never quite thought that was the best way to go with the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I have God of War. I just haven't played it.
Yeah.
The soft reboot. So I don't know exactly where they take the story after you do the fight with Baldur.
Yeah.
I only have loose ideas. I've kept away from story
I
spoilers
recommend playing
and
it.
so on.
It's dope. What other games? Okay, we got a few other games. Kena, Bridge of Spirits looks really cool. In fact, it looks just gorgeous. I don't really know much about it. It looks like there's kind of a Lemmings mechanic or like a Pikmin mechanic where you got little shits following you around that do things. But it looks like a Pixar movie that you play. It just looks gorgeous. I love the art style. I just want to see it. It looks good. I heard it got recent. Was it that got delayed or was it something else? I don't remember, but it should be coming out 2021 at some point. As we spoke earlier, Breath of the Wild 2. As much as Breath of the Wild 1, I feel like was a missed opportunity in some areas. I think 2 can obviously improve. And from the trailer, now I say this, but I fell for the same exact fucking trick when the first one came out. From the trailer, it looks like there's more of a story focus. But the first trailer, felt the same fucking way. I felt like there would be more of a story focus.
They don't normally do direct sequels either.
No, they don't.
Like with Zelda, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see where they take that.
Yeah, I hope. And Zelda looks like she'll have more of an actual, because the first one was just Link most of the time, and Zelda kind of joined you up for the final fight. But it'd be cool if Zelda was actually like a party member or some shit. Like you could switch between them or do something interesting that way, something to be new for. And it'd be interesting to see how they would work that in an open world system, or she could just fuck off and not be important to your party for a while again, or she'll go sit in a hub or somewhere or some shit. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have faith that they'll be able to. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what they do. I mean, they got a lot of praise for what Breath of the Wild was. And while I don't agree with all of it, I still think it was a good game. I just don't know if they'll make any really large changes moving forward. I would like to see some huge overhauls to the systems in the game. And again, more of a focus on narrative. Give me a really good story. Not one I have to piece together after that is all jumbled up and a mess and not that interesting. Please. Thank you. Okay. Moving forward, we got Little Nightmares 2. Very fucking excited to get back into those games. I loved the first one so fucking much. Now this one, and it being fucking co-op, I'm pretty sure. Right? Is it actually co-op?
That would be interesting.
Let me see. I remember something. Yeah, Little Nightmares 2 multiplayer. Like the first guy, there's AI cooperative play. The developers have gone to mention in interviews that the exclusive of local online multiplayer is specifically a design choice. What? That doesn't answer any of my questions. Little Nightmares 2, blah, blah, blah. Returning of 6 and a new character named Mono. After the debut trailer, game senior designer explained that 6 and Mono would need to work together in order to survive the fresh hellhole named Signal Tower. Wasn't the tower that they were going to at the end of the first game when she got off the ship? Wasn't there a tower in the distance? Yeah. Similar to Little Nightmares Mall, the Signal Tower is a creepy, terrifying route location. I'm so excited. I just want to know if it's multiplayer. We might just blah, blah, blah. Oh, it looks so good. I love the art style so fucking much.
I wish that they would do a little bit stronger of a narrative. There's a lot of fucking metaphor and shit in that game.
Yeah, 6 will indeed be an AI controlled friend only. It's unwilling news. Trying to play with a mate. So it's single player only. That's fine. I mean, it'd be cool if it was multiplayer, but I can see that being a problem. I'm still definitely gonna get it day one. No thoughts about it. It's great. But yeah, you're right, Shawn. It reminded me of Dark Souls. They don't really explain a lot.
Yeah, because I get the impression that the woman that you kill at the end might be your mother.
That's what I thought.
Creator.
So. Yeah.
But I like how everything was very intuitive. Like killing her with the mirror, you kind of pick up on her vanity, throughout the cutscenes and the small hints here and there. Like, it was very organic. I didn't get to play it actually, but my kid played it from almost the very beginning. Like, so they told me what happened up to where they were, because I think they were midway through the first level or at the second level. And it was almost a cooperative experience because they struggled with different like areas and whatnot. So I was kind of using my video game experience. I was like, all right, okay, I see what you need to do here. Boom, 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 boom. And try doing this and this to get this hidden thing. And you're probably going to have to run through this room 3 times to get all of that. So you're going to have to do a trek here. You'll have to circle back around, etc. So I didn't get to play it, but I experienced the entire game and I got to watch it, without playing it, which meant I got to pay more attention to the details happening in the game. And there's a lot of important background shit happening. And there's a shitload of fucking visual metaphor and visual storytelling that I hope that they do more with in the second game.
Yeah, sure. What else we got? Near Replicant, really cool. The first game being remastered or reworked or rebooted. I don't know.
Oh, the one with the one that actually has Nier in it, the guy.
Yeah. Although that I think they're doing it how it released in Japan, where it's oh wait, he might be in here. 2 games had one notable distant Replicant. The protagonist was a teenager with a sister named Yona, and in Gestalt, he was a grown man. So it's the Japanese release, not the U.S. release.
They could do both versions.
They could.
I mean, it's not like most of the assets are identical.
Yeah, I think they're. I think they might just be doing the Replicant version though. They might eventually do Gestalt. I don't know, but that was interesting because every time I watched the original, I've never played it. Whenever I watched it, it was the Gestalt version. I watched Cry play it, I think it was. He played Gestalt. That was how I first found Cry. And I didn't know what the fuck was going on 9 times out of 10. So, but I was always the man, and then I eventually heard later that there was a boy in the Japanese release. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to see that.
It was a guy and his son, and then it was a boy and his sister.
Yeah.
The basic story beats are the same, but there's
think it was a daughter.
Different kind of emotional investment.
Her name was like Yona.
That might have been. I don't remember.
It's the same name as his sister. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next thing.
I know it was his kid.
Shawn, Overwatch 2, Pog. One thing I'm also personally excited for is Persona 5 Strikers when it finally comes to the US.
Yeah.
That game looks fucking dope. I'm really not the biggest fan.
Tecmo does a great job with Warriors games. I love Warriors games.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I love Persona, and the fact that it's continuing the story has me interested to see where it goes. So I just want more of those characters. I'm fucking hyped for that.
I mean, let's be fair. Warriors games are like the equivalent of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game for collectible card game players. Like, most people just turn their nose up at that shit. They'd rather play Pokemon or Magic. Yu-Gi-Oh just definitely wasn't as big, especially with all the stupid ARM toy card things and whatnot that they released. A lot of people turn their nose up at it, but there's still a dedicated fan base for that shit.
Yeah.
And I love Warriors games personally.
Yeah. Another big thing that may be coming out this year is Psychonauts 2. We talked about that a bit earlier.
Very excited for that.
Yeah, that's fucking hype. I loved the first game a lot, and I'm very excited to see where the second game goes, what Double Fine does.
You know, Microsoft bought Double Fine?
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
Oh. I mean, if it was what allowed this game to come out, then I'll allow it, but...
Well, to be fair, like, Tim Schafer is a really creative, interesting guy, and you can tell a Double Fine game because of his thumbprint on it. And I've played a lot of Double Fine games. My favorite so far is a tie between Psychonauts and Brutal Legend.
Mm-hmm.
But his games don't, because they are so avant-garde and so kind of like cartoonish, but yet strangely mature and a little bit dark. They don't necessarily find a hardcore audience. Like, Brutal was a great fucking game. Like, it really doesn't have a ton of flaws. And it just didn't sell well. The Cave, like, after Brutal came out, that was his last AAA release. In box, etc. Everything since then has been a digital release, like The Cave and there's also a handful of other studios that work with Double Fine that release similar games, but The Cave is one of the last ones I remember. But he's done like and the Vikings one, the Vikings beat 'em up was a Double Fine game. I fucking don't remember what it is. Zombie Vikings, I think. They nobody will fund a AAA production from his studio because they all underperform. They usually are critical darlings, but they don't connect with a huge audience because they're so unusual. Psychonauts was kind of an exception, and I think that was an Xbox exclusive originally. It
I'm not
was
sure.
years later when it was downloadable onto other platforms, because I think I have it on PS4 now. So I'm hoping that when Microsoft releases Psychonauts 2, that it's a timed exclusive and not 100% exclusive. I'm just not willing to buy a console for a game anymore. Last time I did that, I bought it for Castlevania Resurrection, and then they didn't make the fucking game, so I had a Dreamcast and nothing to
Fucking
play on it.
oof. That
Yeah,
sucks.
and so like I had to start playing other Dreamcast games, and which ended up being excellent. It was one of the best consoles I think I've ever played.
Nice.
So not like I have any regrets there, but
All right, a few more games before we move on to our movies. Ratchet and Clank, new Ratchet and Clank game looks dope. First, like reboot. It's kind of like a soft reboot style because it did follow the story of the original for the most part, but it changed a lot of the areas. Um, So it's just excellent. Insomniac's doesn't miss. They've been really fucking good with Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank, and I can't wait to see what this does. It's also this game looks like it'll be using the SSD on the PS5 and its full functionality. So it'd be really cool because the way they were showing the rifts in the game and how it was just instantly loading all these new worlds on the with the snap of a finger, it was really interesting. So I'm excited
that
to try
just
that
makes
out.
me want more Jak and Daxter, because Ratchet and Clank and Jak and
True.
Daxter, although drastically different games,
Yeah.
played similarly.
Yeah, I definitely can see the connection there. I like Jack and
And
Daxter a bit more, but Ratchet and Clank's fucking excellent.
Jak and Daxter is one of those things that started off like Harry Potter. It started off like kind of innocent and just a fun platformer with some like edgy elements to it, and then it just got more and more mature and darker and darker and darker. It's one of those series that grew up with its audience, and to my knowledge, I think that Jak and Daxter still haven't gotten an HD re-release.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true,
I
or
think
did
there
they do
was
that?
one on like the last gen, so not on PS4, but the previous one. I'm not too sure.
They need to
Yeah,
do another release of that. They need, I mean, fucking, I mean, they don't have to go all Kingdom Hearts on it and release like 17 versions of the same fucking game, but they definitely need to bring Jak and Daxter back.
yeah,
I think they're both still alive, right? I don't remember
yeah.
the
They're both
ending of
fine.
the third game, but I
They're
don't think
both
they
fine.
died.
No, they didn't. What else we got? Scorn. I've actually kickstarted this game or paid for one of the tiers in a Kickstarter.
Is that the one with like the
HR
devil
Geiger.
raping
No.
fucking? Oh, okay.
The HR Geiger stuff, it looks like a lot like Alien, a lot of it looks fucking phenomenal. And I played through the alpha because they gave it to me for the kickstarting thing, and it just looks great. I'm super excited to see what they do with the game. It's just been in development for a very long time. There is a possible release in 2021, but it most likely will get delayed. Oh my goodness. Shin Megami Tensei 5 was also announced. Could possibly come
Very
out
excited for
in
that.
2021. Yeah, love the Persona SMT games, and I just want more of it. And this will probably tide me
Have you
off while I
played
wait for
Shin Megami Tensei game?
the.
Or like Last Bible or Exile or any of that?
I've only played, which one was it? It was on the DS, 3DS. That Devil Survivor on the 3DS.
Devil's Summoner was on
Summoner.
PlayStation 2.
Let me see. 3DS.
And Devil Summoner 2 was PlayStation 2.
Shin Megami 4 was on the 3DS. Was that it?
Yeah.
I remember playing one on 3DS. I bought it and I played it. It might have been 3.
I know
or 4.
they did I think 2 releases because it went mobile for a while. the Devil Survivor and Devil Summoner games were the last ones on PlayStation before it jumped to DS and so on, and then it jumped back with Persona 4 releasing on the Vita and 5 on the PlayStation.
I think it was 4. I don't remember much about it though, so I probably didn't finish
4?
it.
I don't think 4 was on DS. 4 was on Vita.
I just googled it. It is on 3DS.
Is it really? They had a version on 3DS?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
But 5 looks pog, so I'm excited. I love Atlas.
Oh wait, no, 4. The one on Vita was 4 Golden. That's right. It was the director's cut version.
Gotcha. I'm not talking about Persona. I'm talking about Shin Megami Tensei. There's a golden version of.
Oh right, no, you're right. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I totally got split there.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
SMT is a bit heavier, even
I'm all
heavier
for it.
in theme than Persona is,
all for it.
and it's also ridiculously hard. Like I remember playing through Nocturne, and Nocturne was like JRPG on fucking pro mode, like the ultra hard. Like any fight can just wipe the floor with you if you're not extremely smart
feel
about how
that.
you play.
Played through Persona on the hardest difficulty. Well, the one before they added the hardest difficulty.
Persona, like Nocturne, was it Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne?
Was that 3?
I don't remember it. That was.
I think Nocturne was
3,
3
yeah,
because
I
didn't
think
they
it
announce
was.
that they were remaking it, remastering it, or whatever?
They are, yeah, but it doesn't have Dante in it this time, which is doo-doo.
Every time I've said that, you're like, it doesn't have Dante.
That makes me upset. I mean, I get it. Dante wasn't in the Japanese version initially. They released a separate version that had Dante in it.
Yeah.
Here, but I just remember it was the Dark Souls of JRPGs before Dark Souls existed. God, that game was fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like it really is, and you have to combine your summons.
Hey, you have to in Persona
devils.
as well. Yeah.
If you don't
fucked.
blend them, like you are not strong enough to move forward. Because I tried to collect them all and keep them pure, so I leveled them all up to their max caps and just got steamrolled. Like I think I fought Thor, because every pantheon, every mystical creature, every fantasy creature exists in Shin Megami Tensei. And we're not talking the Devil Summoner universe or the Devil Trigger universe, or not Devil Trigger, but whatever the other one was, Devil Survivor universe.
Trigger.
We're talking the main Shin Megami Tensei universe. Like those entities all exist, and they're all just called devils.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just different. Like devil does not mean what you normally think it means. It's just any mystical being is a devil of some kind.
Yeah.
Neither good nor evil, just whatever they choose. And I remember there's this one bar that you go into, and Thor's like wasted at the fucking bar, just drinking himself stupid. And you can fight. He's a boss fight, and if you do things right, you can come back later and actually collect him as one of your devils. And there's also unique devils in the game, and then there's the standard variety, like the blue fairy, red fairy, etc. And Thor completely beat the absolute fucking shit out of me. And then I tried to get into a nightclub. I just got to a point where I was getting wrecked left and right, and there's no guide to how combining the devils will result.
Yeah.
So it's you never know if you're going to get a stronger creature that's useful or a stronger creature that just doesn't work for your builds.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to get back into that game.
Yeah, hype. And we'll be playing it together, which would be pretty pog. Well, at the same time and shit. All right, 2 more. We got Stalker 2. I've played through the first Stalker. Really interesting experience. I think the best part I enjoyed about Stalker is probably its world and just the level of detail in it. And it's like a simulation kind of style shooter with survival elements. And it's just really fucking interesting, and it always unnerved me, the game. And just going through the world, messing around with it. It's set in Chernobyl, but far after all of it. I don't know if it's a post-nuclear environment. I think it is. Like there was a nuclear war, but it's still set in Chernobyl. And you're basically someone called a stalker, and you're kind of like a mercenary. Like they can hire you to go do shit, but you just kind of wake up there and you're trying to figure out what the fuck you're there for. And you're roaming in Russia doing shit for people. But there's just like, there's a lot of like, the NPCs all had like routes, and time would pass normally. That's where like the simulation elements would come in, and you could like completely miss NPCs if you piss off an NPC, or even random attacks will happen, Shawn. You could be doing a quest, and the NPC you need to do that quest for can die from an attack if you take too long to do the quest and shit, and you can fail it just because he died while patrolling or some shit like that. And like so it was all about like this world that was open, like always simulated, and you had to like get through to do the quest and do all the other stuff, and your inventory, there's like inventory management, food and water, and it was just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. They also had these things called, were they called artifacts? I don't remember what the name for them was, but in areas where it was really heavily radiated, you had like a Geiger counter to know when you were stepping into more heavily radiated areas. Like there were areas that like gained anomalous properties, like shit would float up off the ground, or like you'd have like weird noises, or it would affect the enemies inside. There was one, Shawn, deadass, I was just playing. I knew I was walking up to an area that had like the entities, but if you go up, it'll actually like drop like loot in these areas, and you can pick them up, and they all have unique like things. Like some will make you move faster, some will give you more carry weight. They're all like different properties. And there was a pack of dogs that just like walked through the area, and one of the dogs just fucking exploded. And the other one's like fucked off and ran away. So like I don't know what happened in that area, but I did not go any further. I didn't investigate, but the dog was just chilling. It just fucking exploded and died. And I'm like, not going over there today. But like, yeah, sometimes you can be chilling in the areas. Some of them are like really dangerous. They'll just straight up kill you. So you have to be really careful with them. But I have no idea what the second one will be like. It says it's still set in Chernobyl, so it seems like it'd be in the same area. I don't know how far it is after the first one, but it's said to come out in 2021. That's really exciting because I really liked the world in the first one. I thought it was dope. And finally, there's one. It's a cyberpunk story of a different sort. It's called Stray, and you're a cat in a cyberpunk world. And the trailer for it was really cute, and I'm interested to see what it's about. So yeah, cyberpunk with cats. Fuck yeah. And that's about it. So
that sounds like a definite indie release.
Definitely excited. There's a lot of possible bangers in our future. 2021 is going to be a great year for games, I'm sure. These are all things that have been set to announce. You don't know what's being hidden up someone's sleeve or shit like that. Hey, they could pull a Fallout 4 and announce in a month that, hey, the new Elder Scrolls game coming out is coming out in 4 months, blah blah blah. Get ready. And then everyone just explodes and the internet dies. And that's Xbox exclusive for a year. So, but you never know what can happen. I'm excited. Definitely going to be picking up pretty much most of the games we talked about. I'll be picking up just in some way or another. Outside of a few that I'll probably wait for reviews. But I'm hyped. I cannot wait. Final Fantasy 14 may be announcing the next expansion in February. And talking more about the new game. So I'm excited to see just what this year has in store for us. But we watched some Christmas movies.